There is a solution for that is sponsored by VARC Solutions. VARC Solutions helps small businesses succeed by delivering expert QuickBooks bookkeeping, consulting, quick-based development, and integrated solutions. If you own a small to medium-sized business that uses QuickBooks or QuickBase, the experts at VARC Solutions can help. In business since 1999, with people who care and the knowledge and experience to solve your toughest problems. Visit varcsolutions.com for all your QuickBooks needs. Welcome back to another edition of There's a Solution for That, where we help small businesses succeed by discussing challenging business problems and best-in-class solutions. Welcome back, everybody, to the latest edition of There's a Solution for That. I want to talk about and maybe an interesting concept related to getting or asking for customer feedback today. I hope this episode is going to be helpful to you. If anything, I hope it just helps you rethink how you ask for client feedback, and ultimately, I hope you get better results from it. So let me just kind of tell you a little bit of a story and why I think this is maybe an interesting topic to explore. We all get surveys in the mail, right? We go to an auto dealership and there's a question, how did we do, right? Same thing in our company. We do work for a client. We send them an email at some point, right? And say, how did we do? Or maybe we ask for a review. Hey, will you go on to Google and send us a review? My personal experience with that, besides the fact that it's really, really hard to actually get a response, and I don't have a magic bullet for solving that particular problem, besides that, I think sometimes we don't ask the right question. In other words, if we're trying to improve a product or service, if we're trying to improve our customer experience, if we're trying to make our services better to our clients, we need to do more than simply ask, how did we do? What star rating would you give us? Because I think, quite frankly, we're hoping for good news, right? We're hoping for, you did great. We're hoping it's a 5-star. But just imagine you go to a restaurant, you have a mediocre experience. Maybe the meal wasn't exceptional. Maybe it was kind of average to okay. The server wasn't that great, but again, not bad enough to complain, not good enough to write an amazing review. And if someone was to ask you, how did we do? How was your meal? You probably would say something very generic, not very committed, not very informative. You'd probably say something like, it was fine. It was okay. And you would leave that restaurant. They would never know you didn't like it. They very likely would never notice that you never came back. And really, from a customer perspective, you've taken away an opportunity for that company to grow or that restaurant to improve. But I think it starts again with asking the right question. So here's an example. Instead of saying, how did we do? Did you like our service? Adding leading a customer to hopefully have a positive response. What I want to encourage you to do is be more vulnerable when it comes to asking for client feedback. And by vulnerable, I mean ask the pink elephant in the room type of question to solicit or to elicit a response that's going to give you more information to improve what you're doing. Okay, and so instead of asking for a pat on the back, instead of saying, hey, did we do well? I hope so. Ask a better question or a series of better questions to get information that you can act on to improve your product or improve your service. And so I'm going to give you a few examples of that. And I encourage you to try these and give it a try and see if it improves the response that you get, as well as the getting better information. So I'm going to give you an example. Instead of saying, how do we do? What I would like you to ask is there anything you feel we should have done differently? Okay, let that be the question. And by the way, I've got a couple more, but just take your pick. This could be a good question to ask. Is there anything you feel we should have done differently? Now, if somebody loved your service, they're going to say, absolutely not. Keep doing everything you're doing. It was amazing. But by leading them to a possible negative response, you're opening the door for maybe a more real conversation, a more vulnerable conversation that, again, is going to hopefully lead to you having a better product or better service. So, is there anything you feel we should have done differently in that experience, in that buying experience, in that service implementation, whatever it might be? Here's another series of questions that kind of go along the same lines, but can be a little bit maybe more specific, depending on your particular product or solution. But is there anything that we should be doing more quickly? Okay. Is there anything that we should be doing more quickly? And you see how that's different than saying, were we fast enough? Okay. Most people, again, would say, yeah, you were fine. You were fine. You were fast enough. But if you ask them, is there anything we should have done more quickly? Now, as a customer, I've got to think, well, yeah, you could have gotten back to me a little bit faster. I made that call and we never got an email and we never got a response, or it took a week and a half. And again, what you're looking for is actionable information. If somebody says, yeah, I think you could probably give faster replies when I ask questions, then you could say, well, how long did it take? Well, it took a week and a half to get a reply. Again, now that's something that I can go back to my team and talk to my service agents and hopefully do better. So that's one example. Here's another one. Is there anything that you feel like we should start doing? Okay, that's implying that there maybe is something that we're not doing, that we should be doing. So is there anything that we should start doing? Again, as a customer, I'm going to have to think about that one. I can't just go, it was fine. I would have to think, well, maybe actually you should start calling people back quicker, whatever it might be. And then the inverse of that is always an interesting thing to explore, which is there anything that we should stop doing? Okay, is there anything we should start doing? And is there anything that we should stop doing? And again, I don't have, what the answers might be to that. But I just know from experience that asking those types of more vulnerable questions, exposing yourself to possibly negative feedback, one, can increase the response, but number two, and more importantly, it can give you more real answers to how you're really, really doing with that client or that customer, so that you can then take that information and apply it within your business to make a better product, to make a better service. And again, hopefully the goal would be to grow your business and have really, really happy and advocating clients that are really advocating for how amazing you really, really are because you asked the right questions. So anyways, short little podcast here today. I hope that was helpful. Let me know how it goes. If you take this episode and you apply that within your organization, let us know how it goes. I would love to hear your feedback on if it made a difference. So again, hopefully this was a great episode. Thank you for taking the time, and we'll see you next time. There is a Solution for That is produced by VARC Solutions. This episode was produced by Ashley White and Aaron Riley. You can subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Watch the video version on youtube.com/There's a Solution for That. Or visit varcsolutions.com/podcast, where you'll find our entire podcast archive, as well as show notes, links to solution providers, and complete transcripts of every episode. If you love the podcast, please leave a review with your comments.